Hey everyone, Golden Ninja 3000 here again. Today I'm reviewing LEGO Icons set number 10497, the Galaxy Explorer. This has 1,254 pieces, 4 minifigures, and it retails for $100 in the US. This is a 90th anniversary set. It's a remake of the immensely popular 497 Galaxy Explorer set from 1979. And I'm really excited for this set because this is actually my very first foray into classic space. I bought the little minifigure pack that came out for the Lego Movie 2, but I never even had like Benny's spaceship from the first Lego movie, so I'm really excited to finally own one of these. We have two colors of Neo Classic Space minifigures in this set. First up, we've got the Red Astronaut. This is an almost exact remake of the older figures, except for that newer helmet design, which came out, I believe, in that Benny Space Squad set, the minifigure pack from the Lego Movie 2. It's got a thicker chin strap because like the joke was that they used to break very easily, which is why Benny has a cracked one in the Lego movie. And I think this figure looks awesome. I don't think Lego's done red before for these guys in like the last couple of years. That's why they're kind of neo classic space, because Lego has been remaking a lot of these figures in different colors. And then we've got a classic astronaut in white. I believe we also got one of these minifigures in the Benny Space Squad set. And Lego did do like a gift with purchase minifigure that was in a similar style, I think like 5 years back or something now, like in 2017 or 2018. But that one just had a generic like Lego helmet. It didn't have one of those classic space helmets. I do really like the look of both of these astronaut colors. And yes, they are like very faithful to the original, but it also would have been great to see even more colors in play. We also get this little robot build, which I think is really cute. It's holding 2 cups, I'm guessing of coffee, since, you know, Lego loves their coffee cups. And it's got this older, like, ventilator piece that's still in circulation. It's also using, like, very classic robot arms, so you can move them out. Those pieces always annoyed me when I was a kid because they had very weak clutch power. But in a setting like this, I think they work well. It's got a couple of antennae on top. Other than that, not much detail, but it's just nice to kind of have another character in this set. This new rendition of the Galaxy Explorer is 1.5 times the size of the original, and I think it looks really good scaled up. I think that was definitely a good decision, because honestly, the ship is huge and it's impressive, but it's not so big, you know, it's not too big. Like, again, I don't own Benny's spaceship from the Lego movie, but at times I felt like there was too much going on with that set. And I still really want it, but like this to me is kind of like a nice, cleaner alternative. And you can already see, like, one of the major issues I have with this set, well, pretty much the only major issue I have with this set, is the landing gear. It is retractable, but because it's retractable, whenever you try to, like, move it around when it's in landing mode, it just wants to collapse onto one side. So we'll actually go ahead and start with the landing gear so I can just get it out of the way. They're using these, like, flat kind of plate pieces from Lego Super Mario, and as you can see, they angle in and out. And so they kind of just like collapse flat into the body. And that's a great feature. I really love it when Lego does retractable landing gear. It's just that I wish there was some way to lock them in place, because like they move way too much once like they're actually activated. So that's just kind of annoying to me, but this is also a great angle to show you guys the shaping of the ship. It's very well designed from the bottom. Like, Lego sets are, you know, they're not meant to look good from the bottom, but this is a very clean look. Like, the only gaps are where the landing gear comes out, and you've even got like a couple of thrusters in the middle, which I think is a really nice touch. But anyway, back to the ship with the landing gear collapsed now. I do prefer to have it in landed mode, but I mean, it looks pretty good just sitting on the ground as well. So we've got a couple of cannons up at the front. They don't actually shoot, but I think that they look pretty great. And as you can see, there's a lot of angling and there's a lot of tiles. And I really, really like this kind of aspect of the set. It's just a very clean design because you have like the tiles kind of framing the entire ship and then like wedge plates with studs like going in. I just think that it makes it look, you know, it makes it look like very sophisticated in my opinion. So I really like the way that Lego did that. It's pretty simple. Like, they just use a bunch of bricks like kind of angled at odd places. I kind of just assumed that these would be assemblies that were clipped on, but that's not really the case. And then they're lined on the side with a bunch of cheese slopes with some, or double cheese slopes with some singular cheese slopes as well, and then like some grill pieces to kind of break up the monotony. And overall, I think that the ship is finished off pretty well. Like, there's a very good balance between detail studs and tiled surfaces, which isn't the case with all Lego ships. I particularly like the use of cheese slopes as detailing on the side. Lining a lot of these pieces up can be annoying, but I like the gaps in between them. I think that that looks great. The classic space logo at the front is a print. There are no stickers in this set, so I'm very happy about that. These are also prints, these LL928 signs. I think the white could be a little bit thicker on those, but I mean, because there's no like white on the outside of the ship, you don't really notice that it's not like perfectly color matched. If you compare it to a Lego minifigure, you can see that, yeah, it's printed too light, but it doesn't bother me as much as some other stuff does. You've also got like built-on caution strips, which I think is really cool because that seems like the kind of thing that Lego would usually just print. And then you've got like these kind of sloping sections by these turbines or like jet engines. I really like these assemblies because they use these big barrel pieces as the back of the engines. And I always like it when Lego uses those parts as engine pods because I think that they just fit so perfectly. And then they're using this like, I think newer style, like large kind of, I don't even know how to describe it, but I mean, it looks like engine housing. So I think it works really well. I don't know if it's new for 2022 or if it was introduced in 2021, but that's a piece that I just really like. And there's actually a pretty cool feature here as well, because on either side, you can actually just pop these engines off, flip them upside down, and now they're like little personal spaceships for our astronauts. I think that these are a great addition to this set. I really like it when Lego spaceships come with escape pods or smaller craft that you can just pull off. And yeah, these aren't covered or anything, but I mean, I think they look pretty great. Like they just need a couple of levers and then like a seat for the astronauts. If I was going to change anything, I would like there to be an actual chair, except they wouldn't really fit on a standard Lego chair because of their air tanks, so I get why that wasn't included. And then I just wish that like there was something to stabilize them, like a landing gear or something, because I mean, you could build your own pretty easily and attach it onto that piece, but they do roll around a lot if you're just setting them straight on the ground. That's the little docking section for those pods. I kind of like how it's almost like a little landing strip with the slopes and the caution lines, and then they just clip in onto these assemblies. And I do like the use of these like large kind of tail fin pieces as well. You've got some red lights on the side here too, and the ship is so long I have to keep moving like the minifigures and everything off to the side there. You've also got some more of that like caution like color peeking through the corner there. And then over here, you do have some storage bins. So this includes just a bunch of like these little assemblies, or two of these, sorry, I thought there were three. Like two of these assemblies. I don't really know what these are supposed to be. Maybe they're just like guns, but one has a red stud, one has a green stud, which makes me think they're more like warning lights or something like that. And then they can be kind of hard to just shove back in there, but I mean, I'll figure that out later. And then on the other side, you've got, I believe, yeah, a pair of black air tanks in this one. So it's pretty good. Then you have a spare in case one of your friends ruptures theirs. You've also got a little antenna back here. And then this is one of my favorite, well, actually, these two are like my favorite sub-assemblies on the entire set. This is like one of those, not like megaphone pieces, but like, I don't know if you guys recognize this piece, because like I recognize what this piece is supposed to be. So like in 1979, this was all like a one-piece assembly. And then because they're sizing this thing up by like by a factor of 1.5, they've actually recreated that like single mold piece using 3 bucket pieces that were like made in 2014. So I think that that looks fantastic, because even though I don't know the name of that part, even though I don't know if I own any of them, I recognize what it's supposed to be. And I just think that that's a really, really awesome inclusion. There's a green light on top, and there are a bunch of green lights along the sides here. And another thing that I was already really excited for based on pictures is this arrow build. That is so perfect. Like, I did not know that you can make an arrow shape that perfect out of just pure Lego bricks. On the original set, it was like a sticker or a print or something, but here they actually physically built that. Like, the assembly is really, really clever. It's made using, like, as you can see, it's framed by like a couple of panels, and then it dips into like these 1x2 like angle sloped like curved pieces, and then behind it all is like a white Nexo Knights shield that's just like inserted in there. And I'll show it to you guys from the other side as well, but that's just like an ingenious piece of building, and it looks so perfect. I'm really impressed with both of these builds. Finally, at the back, the big like tail fin is made up with a bunch of smaller tail fin pieces, and then like these large ramps, which I think look really good. And then you've got more of those turbines at the back, which are basically the exact same build as the little escape pods. And all of that looks excellent. There is interior detail to see here, but I'm going to start back up at the front with the interior, and then we'll make our way around to the back. So these windscreens, I don't know if they're new molds. They might be the mold that was in the Benny spaceship set, but they're excellent. I love giant Lego windscreens because just like big pieces of transparent plastic like that, I think are always a lot of fun. And these have a really interesting shape to them. I know that this is kind of like the classic space shape, so that's why I think that these might be the ones that came in the Benny set. Also because the instruction manual didn't talk about these being a new mold. But it's just so perfect. I really, really like this piece. And because they're so large, you can see like straight into the entire interior, which is also another thing that I really like because, I mean, there's two of them. So you can see like literally the full interior, like through these windshield pieces. So lifting this one up, I am going to do them one at a time just so that they have more room to get out of the way. This is the cockpit, which can fit all 4 minifigures, which is a step up from the original set, which I believe could only fit 1. They don't have actual chairs, like they don't have that old classic space chair piece that left room for the air tanks, but there is room for them all to sit with their air tanks. And as you can see back in that little hallway section, there's just a couple more of those like ventilator printed pieces, but this time in white instead of gray like on the robot. It's kind of hard to get a great look inside, but you've got a couple of steering wheels and then a bunch of new printed panels. Again, no stickers in this set at all. And I really appreciate that. I think this is my favorite one that shows like the entire ship. And then there's also this kind of like 1x2 panel with the yellow and red buttons. And that's come in a couple of other sets recently. But yeah, I'm just really glad that there's enough space for all 4 figures. So let me try to let me see if I can like lift this up and give you guys a better look at the cockpit. I mean, it's not much better, but you guys get the gist. The 4 minifigures look great sitting in there together. I do like having them all in there. It's really nice that it can fit 4 minifigures because even as in a set as big as this, I mean, there's not like a ton of interior detail, you know, like most of the surface area of the ship is just, you know, actual ship. So I'm really glad that it's got so much space. The back of the ship is more my speed though, because it's actually got a little living area. So first things first, at the back, you've got more of those control panels, which you can see a little bit better. And there are these levers on the floor too. So that's, I mean, it's basically the same assembly on both sides. So I don't really need to show you both sides, but, oh, I guess it's a little bit different because you do have that radar piece there. So that's pretty nice, actually. I do really like that print as well. And then all the way at the back, you can see this like airlock feature. And that's like very interesting to me. Like there's a brick-built airlock back there and you can actually just slide that aside to gain access to the little garage at the back. So we'll take a closer look at that in a second. But I also like that there is a little window. I can just pick this up and tilt it a little bit. Okay, well, picking it up didn't work, but you can see back there is a little window into the garage as well. And I just think that that is a really, really awesome little addition. And then, like I said, there is a small living area. So you've got, well, more screens up there that I honestly forgot about. Again, great prints, but you have a couple of beds. And I think that that is just a really great feature. So you've got 2 beds there. One is like, just like barely blocked by that wall. And you'll notice that there's a large cutout in them. And that is because you can actually put them in the bed with their air tanks on. So it's kind of hard for me to maneuver this guy in here. But I think that that's a really great feature. Like, there you go. So then he can sleep and you don't need to waste time taking off the air tanks. I really like that because I don't want to have to take off my astronauts' air tanks and like store them like in some random spot like while they're sleeping and then have to put them back on. It's just really, it's better for play, I think. And yeah, you just have like the smallest amount of hallway access. Like you basically have to crawl forward into the cockpit. But I feel like that's fairly accurate for spaceships and stuff because don't like NASA astronauts have to crawl through like the entire International Space Station until they get into a room where they can stand up. So I like that. It feels, you know, like it feels accurate to real life space travel. And then the last thing is there are windows on the side here, and I think that those look fantastic with the trans yellow panes. Now, to the rear of the ship. Sorry if the angle is a little bit weird. This thing is just like really awkwardly sized. It's like almost as long as my entire filming table is. But the way that this opens up is you just like grab the turbines and pull them apart. And then they unclip and they show you the little like garage area. So you've got some tools on the wall here. You have a wrench, and like I said, this is how that like arrow piece is built with the Nexonite shield. You've got a walkie-talkie on this side, and then over here is like the other side of the airlock. And again, that's just really nice. It doesn't actually lock into place or anything. I guess that's one thing they could have done better. But I mean, there's not a lot of room there, and it's a really nice little feature, like to have like a working airlock on a ship like this. And like I said, you have a little window into the rest of the vehicle as well. And then you've got this little like rover, like moon buggy type build. And I mean, it looks pretty good. There's enough room for 2 figures if you really wanted to put one up on there, and a little like Technic hole at the back, and a steering wheel and a headlight. So it's pretty basic, but it definitely works. But what's awesome is the way you deploy it. So you can see I've put the ship back up on the landing gear, because what you can do is you can just pull this little section down, and then you slide this like 8x16 tile forward, and it becomes a ramp that deploys the rover. This is just incredible to me. Like, when I opened the set and saw that there was an 8x16 tile, I was like, oh, but it doesn't have a UCS plaque. I guess they just like use it to cover up like the back of the ship. And then I like placed it down and it didn't connect to any studs. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Again, I guess they just wanted to like have a quick and easy way to cover like the back of the ship. And then like when you get to the end of the build and they're like, oh, you can just pull it straight out and it's a ramp. I was like, oh my God, that is like one of the coolest functions I feel like I've seen in a Lego set in a really long time. Also, the airlock is angled, like it's put in at an angle. Like I built this entire set, and I feel like I just noticed that for the first time, that like this entire wall is like tilted slightly forward. I thought it was just like standing straight up. All right, well, that's it for the build of this set. It's honestly pretty impressive, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. Here are the extra pieces for this set. The box for this set is in a throwback style like all of the other 90th anniversary sets, the Lion Knight's Castle and the Forest Hideout. And I think it looks excellent. I really like, everything on the box, including the moon in the background. On the side, you do have a little image of the ship. And then at the back, you've got a couple other shots as well. The instruction manual for this set is a lot like any direct-to-consumer 18+ set, walking you through the history of the ship. And I really like this. I mean, I think it's really cool. It also shows off these 2 sets that were similar to the Galaxy Explorer. They're basically like the same shape, but just done in a smaller size. And then over here, you have a history of the Lego space minifigure. And then, like I said, there's a ton of information in this manual, which made it really interesting to read. And then also, as you built, well, first of all, the manual art is also really nice because it's got like that moon shape. But then they also gave you like little like hints about the build and little like tidbits and stuff like while you were building, which I thought was a lot of fun. But that's not all, because like those other 2 smaller sets, you can actually build remake versions of them. And I thought that they advertised them in the instruction manual, but I don't see them here. Okay, sorry, they were on this page, not at the back. But yeah, you can build like 2 smaller scaled up versions of those previous sets on this page using alternate building instructions at lego.com, which just makes this set even cooler in my opinion. Honestly, I think this set is perfect. I think that this is the rare Lego set that I would give a 10 out of 10 to in terms of design, minifigures, price, everything. The thing that annoyed me the most was the landing pads, but I think I was just dumb and wasn't pushing them forward all the way, because ever since I did that, they've been a lot more stable. And I mean, I'm just going to be displaying this anyway, so even though it was annoying before, it wasn't like a deal breaker for me. But I just think that this set, it's full of like really interesting building techniques, like, those assemblies at the back. I really like that it's got detachable pods. It's got space for 4 minifigures in the front. You could easily fit 4 in the back. And then you can fit another one on the rover in the garage. And that rover function with like the deploying landing pad and everything, this set was just a treat to build. I really, really like it. And I think that it's fantastic. Like it's a very good size for $100. And again, considering how big the ship is, and how only like a third of it actually has interior space, there is so much interior space. This is how I want to see Lego spaceships done. So yeah, I mean, I'm a classic space convert now. I totally get the hype if all of the sets are like this. I mean, I'm sure they weren't this good back in the day, but I really hope we see more of this stuff from Lego, and I'm really glad they made this set, because Castle won the 90th anniversary fan vote. They did not need to make something else besides the Lion Knight's Castle. And I'm really glad they did, and I'm really glad it's available to everybody, and it's not like a VIP exclusive or something like that. And then you add on to the fact that you can build the 2 other ships as well, and that just brings up the value even more. I will not be building the 2 other ships. Maybe in the future, if this set goes on sale, I'll buy a second copy and try them out. But for now, this guy is just going to be remaining on display in my house for a very long time. So that's it for today. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and check out my website, goldenninja3000.com, and I'll see you guys in more videos soon. Bye for now.